What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of Tokusatsu Thursdays. Today I'm reviewing the Taiwan / Japanese production of the Iron Superman, which is a 1974 film directed by Kwok Teng-Hung and starring Godfrey Ho, Lin Lee, Paul Chun, Stephan Yip, Jamie Yuk, and Xiaohu Yang. This movie is an hour and 25 minutes, and it's a science fiction fantasy film. This movie is a Taiwan production that took footage from a Japanese tokusatsu series called Super Robot Mach Baron, right? Which was one of two giant robot tokusatsu shows that was inspired by the Red Baron, which was the World War I German ace pilot. For people who don't know who the Red Baron is, which is funny because, like, if you ever watch another 70s show that had an homage to the Red Baron, was none other than the original Mobile Suit Gundam, where the main bad guy of the TV show was called the Red Comet and had a red giant robot, right? Which was obviously Char Aznavour, right? This movie, right? I watched it on YouTube, and it was basically a rip off of Tubi TV, but Tubi TV only had the German dub of this movie. So I had to watch this Taiwan movie with German dub and English subtitles, man. Which, when I first heard that German dub, I was like, forget this. I'm just going to watch watch and review the first 3 episodes of Mach Baron, right? Only for somebody to take down the first episode off the dude's playlist, who I'm subscribed to. I'm subscribed to lots of tokusatsu show channels, right? Most of which are Ultraman, even though Ultraman you can watch for free on Tubi, right? Or buy the official release, which I recommend people do, so we can get more Blu-ray releases of our favorite tokusatsu shows, right? So the movie is basically just like a lot of 1970s tokusatsu. You have the main character named Kai, but in the subtitles it's spelled K, who was this son of this couple that was on a cruise ship that was destroyed, which was destroyed by evil giant robot, right? And his parents saved him, right? And he grew up to become the pilot of the super weapon, as it's called in this movie, right? Which is a red giant robot that pretty much looks like I shit you not. We're past the 2 minutes. I shit you not. Looks like a red Mazinger Z. Hence why for the Spain release of this movie, they just called it like Mazinger Z in the, what was it called? Whatever. I forgot the subtitle, but yeah, they called it a Mazinger Z film, right? So yeah, he works for this professor who looks pretty much the same age as him, who looks like Bruce Lee with a long bowl cut, right? And who are part of this organization that has like an underwater base that's trying to stop this aliens from conquering the Earth. And the aliens have giant robots, right? The aliens pretty much look like humans, but they have like weird masks. And the main bad guy, who they call the Coordinator, right, is this old man with white hair, long white hair that sticks straight up, and whenever he's angry, his white hair changes colors, which obviously they just had a light behind his white hair, right? Oh my god. right? And he had like gold eye contacts too. It's funny, his white hair, the way it's sticking up, it reminded me of that NASA footage of the chick that was supposed to be like was getting like interviewed on TV. That was supposed to be like she was supposed to be on a space station, and she's like, "Look, my hair is standing up. That's proof I'm in outer space." Or you just put a shitload of hairspray to make your hair stand up, like the guy, like the main guitarist from Billy Talents. Oh my god! Right. So the other characters, the other good guys, are Luggy and Lee, who are who fight alongside the professor who pilots jets, right? And you also have the girl, which is which was, what was her name, Sue, right? Who also pilots a jet. They also have submarines in the show, right? Which they help our main character fight the bad guys. Which obviously, since like, obviously because they're fighting giant robots, they're not that much help. Just like in Ultraman. Which the costumes are straight up like rip-offs of like the costumes from like, you know, from like early tokusatsu shows, but they look really shitty. They're like orange and like green suits, man. They look really bad, right? But not as bad as the special effects, because the special effects in the movie are basically, it's mostly models, but like most of the shots of the super weapon, that's what he's called. That's what he's called in the subtitles. Is he looks like pretty much like a toy, right? And there is like some cool shit where he spins his head, he opens up his mouth, and he shoots like a flamethrower. So okay, I get why for those shots you have to have like the toy prop. But like a lot of the shots of the Mach Baron, the Iron Superman giant robot, he's like a toy model. Same with the other robots that he fights, which I think he fights like 3 robots in the movie. One of the robots he fights does get an upgrade, so they changed his head. But yeah, it's mostly for the close combat shots where they have a guy in a suit. The main robot's weapons are just like with Mazinger Z. He has a rocket punch, but the rocket punch, the fist, they can like remote control it, so it could fly around to hit shit. And it has a tiny blade, right, that it pops up. He shoots lasers out of his eyes called the Delta Rays. He could also shoot like missiles out of his mouth, even though they established that he's a flamethrower there. Right. Yeah. So like the main plot of the movie is the bad guy aliens are going around destroying ships in the Bermuda Triangle for some reason, right? And our characters send the super robot to defeat them, right? Which they do. Then the bad guys decide to kidnap the brother of Susie, which is a little boy called 12-year-old boy named Charlie, right? Who they have to go and rescue, right? Only for the sister to get kidnapped by the henchmen, which the henchmen of the bad guys in this movie are football players, not basketball players. Football players, and they have like black, uh, black like shirts and shit. Uh, that's funny because there's like scenes where our main character uh, hand to hand fights the football players who have machine guns, by the way. And despite the fact they're wearing helmets, football helmets, he's able to punch them out with his bare fists, right? There's also a cop character in the movie called Porky in the German dub, which I saw this guy and I swear to God I thought he was the South Korean actor Song Young Chang, because I've been watching a lot of South Korean movies and I've seen this guy in lots of movies, right? He was the detective slash psychiatrist from Bluebeard, right? I swear to God I thought he was Porky, but apparently it's a guy named Paul Chun who looks just like him, man. I think they're even similar ages. Like, look. Oh, sorry. This guy, Paul Chun, is like a decade older than like. He's like 30. He's like 13 years older than Song Young Chang, which I guess makes sense since this movie's like from the 70s, right? Yeah. So, yeah, the final like stretch of the movie is the professor. The bad guys have a mine where they're mining this material called titanium 99 that they could use to make a giant robot with super tough armor. But despite the fact that they're super smart aliens, right? Super smart aliens, they need the expertise of the professor to build the to refine the metal so they can build like a super strong giant robot that they'll need to use to defeat the super weapon, right? So they have this really dumb plan where they have they said they have the professor trades has to give himself up to the bad guys in exchange for Susie and her brother Charlie, right? And you would think he would come up with some plan, like maybe have like a tracking device on him, so our heroes could go and rescue him later on. He doesn't, and the bad guys don't even give up the brother and sister. They replace them with robots, and then robots try to kill our heroes, right? So yeah, what ends up happening? This was the dumbest fucking thing, right? He's forced to build the upgraded version of the last robot that they set out, which is a robot with 2 drill arms, right? And he has reinforced armor, and he's able to defeat Mach Baron, which is called that, called by his real name, right? So our character, the professor comes up with this very convoluted plan to escape the bad guys, right? To escape the bad guys, right? He tricks the main villain to release Susie and Charlie, right? On the promise that he'll make an even more powerful giant robot. So they actually do release them, and the professor's like, okay, the bad guy's like, oh, keep your word, build us the super giant robot. He's like, ha, you guys tricked me last time, so now I'm tricking you. You bastards! So they torture him, right? Force him to work the mind, only for him to come up with a super convoluted fucking plan to escape, right? Holy fuck. And he obviously escapes. You have one last fight between our K and the giant robot. The professor escapes, tells him the secret to defeat the giant robot, and the movie ends with them attacking the mine and the bad guys fleeing the mine with their really dumb looking spaceship. I shit you not. It looks like picture like picture like uh picture basically like a like a biplane, but but looking like but as like a UFO, right? So it's like this it's like this spaceship that has like bat wings, right? That have like two bat wings stacked on top of each other, and it's like supposed to be a UFO. So it ends with our heroes giant robot destroying the spaceship, and the movie abruptly ends. You don't even see like a death scream, like footage of the villains screaming in pain while they get killed, right? Like that you usually get. So now I'm gonna go with my likes and dislikes for the movie. Well, I like the fact because they like you don't really see this enough. Where like it was kind of common back in the day, like in the like you know 80s, right? Where okay, like animated shows would have compilation movies, right? That would sum up the series, right, in the movie form. So you don't really get that enough for like you know for Tokusatsu series. So it's kind of cool. Okay, they did basically a compilation movie of like a Tokusatsu show. So that's kind of so if you like you so it's like if you want to check out like a series, right? That's like fucking like 50 or 60 episodes, right? And you just want to get the whole story. It's kind of cool. Okay, you can just like check out the compilation movie, and then if you like it, maybe go check out the TV show, right? So I kind of like that concept, right? I liked overall. I like the design of the giant robot, and that I think I like this idea better of this. Okay, instead of using shitty CGI, we just well, obviously they didn't have CGI back then, but I'm saying I liked like the idea of okay, we have just have guys in suits play as giant robots, right? So, but that's not what they did. They had a combination of models, right? Oh my god, my dog is annoying the shit out of me. I waited like an hour for her to stop barking, only for her to bark again. Jesus Christ. Right? So yeah, it's just like, okay, I didn't, fuck. Yeah, sorry about that. My dog was barking. So I'm trying to say, okay, as somebody who really hates like early 2000s movies where they try to do the giant robots with fucking really terrible CGI, like that shitty Tension 28 film from 2005. Okay, I prefer the costumes, right? But here, the robots were mostly the toys, right? Like the toy models, and they look really shitty, right? But other than that, I don't know. I like the premise of the movie. I like the story, right? But the right, and I like the characters, even though the very weird that they called the one cop character his nickname is Porky. That was kind of insulting, right? But yeah, overall I like the movie, but like the bad things about the movie is the movie, like a lot of the action scenes took place in the same fucking field, right, where our characters would fight, you know, the fucking football player henchmen, right, in the same field, to the point where it's like they even fought in the same field, like that. They were fighting like outside what was supposed to be a hospital, but it was the same fucking field that you saw several times in the movie. The costumes looked bad, right? Overall, the movie does look cheap as fuck, but obviously Tokusatsu shows look like cheap as fuck. So, but like this looks cheaper than those, so right? Yeah, and like, yeah, this movie, it is the fact that this movie is like, you can only watch the movie with a German dub, right? Which the German dub, the villain sounded cool, right? But everybody else, like, you know, it did not sound good, and it was also the thing where characters would say shit, and then like the subtitles would be like really short. So it's like, did you really? Did so it's like the opposite of that scene from fucking Survive Family Style 5 where Vinny Jones goes on his insults people, and the translator uh like the translator translate, but like he keeps going, and the guy goes, "Did he really say all that?" Here it's like, I'm pretty sure it's the opposite. Where I'm pretty sure he said more. Though there was a funny scene where the guy, the main character, goes to shoot at something, and the subtitle was fire, but the guy said fire fry, and I'm like, oh, the Ramstein song. It made me wanted to go listen to the Ramstein song. But overall, I think I like the movie. Right? This movie probably has some rewatchability. I would probably rewatch this movie. Like, I would probably rewatch this movie over like the some other like tokusatsu films I watched on the channel, like that Cutie Honey Tears movie and Moon Mask Rider. Sorry for Moon Mask Rider fans. So overall, and I do like the idea. Okay, let's like, I like the idea of like, super robot shows, right, in like live action form. So yeah, and I can't believe the fucking robot looks basically like a red Mazinger Z. I was hoping he was gonna have like shoot like fire lasers out of his fucking chest plate or something. So yeah, if I ever give the movie a rating, I'll give it a 6 out of 10, but it's probably not worth that. And if you want to watch the movie, it's on YouTube for free. There's like two channels that have it uploaded, right? And it's pretty much the same rep. So if you go to the one, no point going to the other because it's the same quality, right? So yeah, that's it for this week's episode.